Okay, so this video is going to be for the corrections to our reflection practice, just to check to make sure we are on the right track with everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get my document cam going here. Take pretty quick. All right, so our first problem here, we're given a picture and we have to identify the missing angle using the law of reflection. So in this picture here, we're looking for the angle of reflection. So law of reflection says that the angle of incidence should be equal to the angle of reflection. So if the angle of incidence is 50, then the angle of reflection here should also be 50. Here I'm looking for the angle of the reflected ray. However, I do not know the angle of incidence, but I do know the angle between the reflected ray and the mirror's surface. So knowing that this is 90 degrees, 90 minus 30 leaves me with 60 left over. So then that tells me that this is 60 degrees. So if this is 60, then angle of reflection should also be 60. Here I know the angle of incidence. I want to figure out the angle between the mirror and the reflected ray. So if the angle of incidence is 20, then the angle of reflection is 20. So I know this part from here to here is 20. All of this equals 90. So I want to know what is the portion that is 90 minus 20. And so that leaves us with 70 degrees. So 1 should be 50, 1A, 1B should be 60, and 1C 70. All right, so for 2, we had to draw law of reflection where the ray strikes a mirror 60 degrees from the normal. So my angle of incidence should be a little bit longer than 45 degrees here. And the angle of reflection should be equal to the angle of incidence. So it should also be 60 degrees here. So when I line up my protractor to check things over. So that line should line up with this 30 degrees because it should be 30 degrees from the mirror surface up to this ray. And then the rest of it is 60 degrees that goes from this ray to the normal, which is what we're measuring from. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 and drew my rays that way. So if your rays look really tight or close together, then that means we measured from the normal line and we found 60. And so what we actually did was measured from the mirror up to our ray and we found that angle. So this is from the normal. We're counting, starting at the normal and then counting this way and counting that way. So in your drawing, if you just put 2 marks at 60, your 2 rays are actually only 30 degrees from the normal. Okay, B was a trickier one. So here the incident ray strikes 20 degrees from the mirror. So the angle from here to here that I'm measuring and finding is 20 degrees from the mirror to this ray. Here I want to draw and label the angle of the reflected ray, so the angle of reflection for this problem. So I know if this strikes the mirror at an angle of 20 degrees, then it's going to reflect at an angle of 20 degrees from the mirror. And so this what's left over here, my angle of reflection, should be 70 degrees. So 70 plus 20. And I can check and verify that it's 70 from the normal. I put my protractor down and I count from 90. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 from the normal. Three, so light ray hits a flat mirror 14 degrees from the normal. Circle the correct answer for what the reflected ray would look like. So angle of incidence should equal the angle of reflection, so that's the choice that I'm looking for. So it's 14 from the normal, so the angle of reflection should also be 14 from the normal, so it should be equal to each other. Here the light ray hits a flat mirror 10 from the mirror surface. So I'm going to first look for, is there a 10 degrees from the mirror surface for the reflected ray? Now there's not. I have 10 degrees from the normal, but that's not the same measurement as from the mirror surface. So this is not an answer where 10 equals 10. So it's 10 from the mirror surface. So that means the reflection will be 10 from the mirror surface. 90 minus 10 leaves me with 80 left over. So now I can look for, well, what would the answer be then relative to that normal? So here is our answer, 80 degrees from the normal line, since I do not have the option of 10 from the mirror surface, which would be the correct answer following the law of reflection with these choices. So those are our four problems here. So if you have any questions with them, then see me with them when I see you on Monday or Tuesday. But otherwise, if we did just fine on here, then I think we got the law of reflection down. So if you have a quick one also, you could just send me an email. But I hope you all have a good rest of your day.